Hi there, Plant Girl here. So I thought I'm getting close to that time where I'm going to be getting a lot of seeds going and things are going to be changing around here. And I thought leading up to that, it might be interesting just to see kind of what I have going on my grow shelf right now. It's the middle of February and I have quite a few things on my grow shelf right now, but I need room to start seeds starting in a couple of weeks. So I thought I would take you for a quick run through what's here right now. The lighting is going to be unfortunately not the greatest because I do have all sorts of different lights here. I'll try and turn them on and off a little bit, but I thought I'd just let you have a look here real quick. This is an LED light bar that I've just gotten for the first time this year. It has 2 strips of LEDs in it. It was pretty inexpensive, and I can turn the strips on and off separately, which I think is nice if you don't need that much light going. You could turn it down. I have some red and blue LED light fixtures that I picked up at Costco over the last few years. I think I have 5 of those. So those. And then I have some, I think they're T5s. Yeah, they're T5 bulb. They're just a clear bulb. Some are Sunblaster brand. Some are Mackenzie Seeds, I think, the Mackenzie company. I don't see a difference between them, but so I don't know, I have 6, I think, of those. And then I have just like a regular kind of smaller kind of shop light in here that's just a fluorescent tube. So I have a variety of things that I grow on the shelf, and this is just shelving again. It's just a wire shelving rack from Costco. I can adjust the height differences and things. So that's what I grow my plants on. And right now I have amaryllis. This is not looking that great, but I have 2 amaryllis here that you may recall if you've seen the videos where I planted some bulbs that I'd purchased at the store up, and then I had 2 that I've had for a few years, and they hadn't been in cold storage yet, so I put them in cold storage and just planted them up. This one didn't bloom for me a second time last year, and it's not looking like it's going to again this year, so I may just ditch this bulb. It's not real big and it's not looking that good, so if it doesn't do anything for me in the next month, I think I'm just going to compost this one and say I'm done with it. Even the leaves are floppy. It grows really long leaves and then they just flop. It's just not that great. This one did bloom for me the second year in a row, and it's looking like I'm getting a little bit of a bloom shoot coming here. So I should get blooms 3 years in a row with this one, and I have not treated these well, so I'm pretty impressed with that. I'm happy with that, so I'm looking forward to that bloom. If it does bloom for me, I'll try and get some pictures up for you. I have a few scraggly snapdragons here. I've started them early just because I'm hoping I have some tulips that I'm forcing, and I'm hoping that I can add some of these in when we can't get our hands on things like this yet because it's still early in the season, but snapdragons can usually take a little bit of frosty weather, and where I would put them would be up close to the house. They'll be a little bit protected. So I was just trying to get some going early. It's too early in my area here to really be starting out your bedding plants unless you have a couple special things like that you're wanting to do. There's lots more here than I need. And then pansies, and this was all supposed to be pansies, and I only got 3 going. Now this seed I think was 3 or 4 years old, so I'm guessing that it's hit its limit, and that was the end of the package. So I got 3 out of them, and it's the same as the snapdragons. I was just trying to grow them to put in some pots of early bulbs that I'm going to be forcing to come up just a little bit early for decoration by the house. So 3 is fine. That'll just give me a little bit of color if they even get there fast enough. Pansies can be kind of slow to get going. And then just because I'm itching to get going, I put 1 or 2 herb seeds in each of these. So I have thyme, lemon balm, broadleaf sage, and sweet basil. And that was just because you can grow herbs on a windowsill inside, so it's fine to get them going a little bit early, and then I'll have some herbs inside if they grow for me. I just planted these less than a week ago, so they're not doing anything yet. Then I have 2 trays here, and they're the same thing is in them as I just have. I had some really small, tiny seed potatoes, and I chitted them out, and I planted them up, I think it was about a week ago, and they're already showing sprouts because I had pre-chitted them. So they're already growing nicely. Some of them even have roots coming at the bottom. I don't think they're big enough for you to see, but so a few potatoes, and these will obviously need to be potted up, but it's just a way to kind of get them going without taking up a lot of space. And I'm not sure where we want to put them in bigger pots when the time comes, because this space is going to get full soon. Probably be relegated to a bright sunny window somewhere. So I have 2 trays, 2 pots, exact same thing. I believe they're Caribe potatoes. And let me see if I just do this. Might make it easier to see these, but this is the early curled Simpson. I think this was one of the first lettuces that I planted up this year, and it's really, it's not worth trying to eat anymore. I don't really love early curled Simpson to begin with, and it's old and ratty and it just needs to go, and I just need to get that cleaned out of here. So that's going to get cleaned out and moved on pretty quick here. This is some ruby red lettuce. It's still doing all right. I've pulled a few plants out because they were pretty tight. I think I have 3, maybe 4 plants in here. And I think I'll do one more harvest. It's starting to get a few ratty leaves. It's starting to get just a little bit old. I've had a lot of harvests off of this, and it's in a small pot. So they've just, I think they've had enough in here. So it's getting hard to even keep them watered. So one more harvest off of that, and then those are going to go. And the same thing with this. This was a salad mix, and I'm not even sure. I can't remember what all varieties I put in here. But they're getting crusty. They're not the greatest lettuce anymore. It's been getting pretty hot on this shelf here too, and I don't think that's helping the lettuce at all. But like I said, they're getting just too big of roots in these little pots for these lettuces to have this many in here, so they're getting hard to keep watered, which is making them, the flavors going off. So one more harvest out of this, and the rest of this will all just get tossed out, composted, or just thrown on the garden beds with the soil and that. And then I have my second pot of carrots, and I've harvested out of these once, I think now, out of this pot. And again, they're getting pretty hard to keep watered, but I harvested out of them a couple of weeks ago, and they were pretty good size. And yeah, I can feel a nice, well, this one's not as nice, but they're filling out. And again, I need the space, so I think these have I might give them 2 more weeks, but I think they'll come out before that. Again, probably when I do the lettuces, I'll just clean this whole shelf out so that it's ready and clear, and ready to go. But you can grow carrots. They're not the greatest. Now, these were a baby carrot too, but I did have some that were longer and better. But you can do it. It is possible, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. Maybe if you had a better setup than this, or a cool house outside. Then I'm gonna bring you down low. We'll come down here and we'll have a look at these shelves. So hopefully you can see everything all right here. This shelf here is pretty much just where I've had a kind of a holding area for my houseplants. Hopefully you can have a better look at them here. So I made no secret of it. I've had a fungus gnat issue this winter in here, and you can still see I still have the sticky traps up. You're still kind of have the odd straggler here and there that is popping up. So I just have the cards up, and I kind of keep an eye on things and make sure it doesn't get out of control like it did this late fall on me when I kind of ignored the problem. But anyways, so I had moved a lot of my smaller houseplants in here a few months ago, just trying to kind of isolate as much as I could and experiment with these a little bit. And it's easier, I think, to control the fungus gnat population in smaller pots, whereas some of my larger ones were taking more more of the control methods to get them under control, and so I didn't want them reinfecting these pots. I hope that makes sense. But so I brought the smaller ones, are all in here. And some of these, I mean, they've been pretty good now for a while. I have no concerns with putting them back out. My biggest concern is that a lot of these sit on window ledges and things, and we just went through about 10 days of extremely, extremely cold weather. Our windows were covered in ice on the inside. It was cold, so I didn't want my plants up against the windows. A, it was blocking airflow, and B, it was too cold for the plants. So I just have left them in here. So these are going to get redistributed back out through the house in the next few days here, and that will clear up this shelf. And then I have these sweet little pots that I've put succulents in. I had some little African violet plants in here, and I moved them around. Since I had all my house plants in here, I just started kind of playing and moving things around. And I took some cuttings of some succulents. There's a big pot of succulents behind you, just a mixed pot of things. I'll maybe give you a shot of that after all this. But so I had just taken some cuttings because it's looking pretty straggly. And I have 6 pots here of different succulents. So those will need to find a place to go out, but they've just been sitting here and getting rooted in and settled into their new homes. And again, they'll probably wind up on a window ledge or something. So just want to make sure that they're growing nicely before they go too close to the windows. So that's my little succulents there. And then these are my my indoor potato experiment pots. I'll be doing a proper update on these in the coming weeks, but they look kind of weird because they've grown over, they're sitting in front of my shelving just on like a boot tray, and then they're growing under here towards the light. But they're getting lots of leaf growth on them. I did have something weird going on with them a while ago when I cut them back quite a bit, and they've leaf dried out and they seem to be doing well. Lots of roots on the bottoms of the pots. Again, it's a big soil area, so I did, I just have set these sticky traps right on the top of the pots to try and catch any fungus gnats that might still be in there. I really do think I've got this handled here, but the potatoes are still growing nicely, and I've just left the traps there just to make sure that there's no stragglers in the soil again that are coming out and going to reinfect anything else. But the potatoes are looking good and healthy. They're nice green growth on the leaves. Like I said, I cut them back a few weeks ago, and they've come back nicely. So I think they're doing well. And that's the last thing I have growing here on my grow shelf here. So I don't know. I thought it might be interesting to see kind of what kind of chaos this little area is in over the winter as I collect and move things and putter around to try and keep myself entertained through the cold winter that we have here in Saskatchewan. But this is what's here now, and most of it, at least these 3 shelves for sure, will be empty in the next couple of weeks as I prep for my seedlings. I'll have a few things go off that next shelf, and these potatoes I think will be going out into my living room because I have a nice big window there and they can get that south sun there and be out of my way here. But that won't be until I really am desperate for space, I think. And then I have my seed trays. My seed trays ready here. These are a batch of new ones that I picked up, and they're nice. If you're buying trays, I think it's worth it to go up to, I think it's like the second heaviest weight. When I'm looking at prices, I don't think it's really worth it to go up to the really super heavy duty ones because they still break, they still get holes, and I think for the price difference, for me anyways, it's not worth it here where I can get them, but definitely worth it for over just the single thick. These are called double thick. I think there's single, double, and then I think it was quadruple when I'm shopping around that I'm seeing. But so I've got my seed trays ready. I have just a few domes, and then I have a couple that are, I think, twice or three times as tall as these domes. So, and those taller ones have vents. So I've got all my domes, so the bigger ones are just up higher. And I have just 2 heat mats that I use. And I find with these T5 lights, they give off quite a bit of heat. So for most plants, I don't need the heat mats, but for a few things, I still like to use them. So 2 is usually enough. I've moved this shelf here pretty tight. It's just enough room to fit a grow tray with one of these shorter domes. So that'll be for mostly seeds starting on that tray, but then it leaves me a bit more room in some of these other areas for as the plants grow and to get taller. So I should have quite a bit of room here, I'm hoping. I have big plans for starting a lot of seeds this year, so I think I'll have this shelf full, and then hopefully by the time I'm overrun in here, it'll be warm enough to put my greenhouse up outside and get a few things that are a little more cold tolerant put out there. But anyways, that's what's happening with my grow shelf right now, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye. And I've washed all my tags and got them ready to go for the next round. Popsicle sticks don't work that well, but I reuse all these other tags.